Welcome to the show. Man, I just want to rip, even though I can't sing. Welcome to the Trio of Positivity podcast. Just a duo right now, hopefully be a trio sometime soon. We appreciate you joining us today. This is the podcast where we skim the Chicago sports landscape to bring some positivity into your life, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to find most of the time, but hey, we do a good job of bringing negativity into your life. Sorry, positivity into your life. I'm your co-host, Bupen. Miller's here. Hey, buddy, say what's up.
I just want to apologize to everybody. I missed an email. Taylor Swift's publicist sent me the email, said the engagement was going to happen, and I missed it, and I didn't get the intro in time, so we're stuck with Boopin doing whatever he just did. So I apologize to everybody, but maybe next time, maybe next engagement, I'll get that one.
Next engagement. Ooh, brutal. I'm pretty sure this episode should be titled Tay Tay because she's gonna be in every segment. I'm pretty sure. So I'm not gonna start the show there. Quick social plug, people. We are on Facebook under Trio of Positivity Podcast. Twitter X, we at Trio Positivity. We have a YouTube channel, Trio of Positivity Podcast. Why do we not have Trio of Positivity Podcast on Twitter? Is my only question. Then it will be the same thing everywhere. We do have a
Because the handle was taken.
God. Okay. TikTok. We have a TikTok. Chris will tell us when it joins up. The website is there. We have nothing on the website. We may have it someday. But enough of the housekeeping. It's time. The off season's in the books. It's done. We are not patiently waiting for week one. Miller, I don't know if you want to close us out, start us off. Do you have some reactions for the off season? I can go first, second, whatever you want me to do.
You seem much more thrilled about this than I do, so why don't you just start us off?
My people, holdouts are ending. We will not talk about Micah Parsons. The preseason is done. Fantasy drafts are here. My team sucks already. Football is back.
Mine too.
Football is back. All the positive hype season is behind us most of the time because we'll get to see the team that kept us dreaming. 17-0 Super Bowl. We get to find out week one if they're really all they were hyped up to be. I'm glad, man. Football's back. What do
Was
you
that
think?
it?
That's it. It's
Oh,
simple.
so you just reacted to nothing. It was just pure joy of having football back.
Do you want me to go into detail about Chargers third stringers versus Ravens third stringers? How that game went?
I think that's necessary for the group to talk about.
You guys are way into football. You were talking about cuts in our chats. Oh my god, you guys are way into it. This is happy season. This is happy season. Christmas is here. All right, what
Christmas
do you
is
got?
here. Well, you know what's not a happy season? You know what's not a happy season? Not a happy season is listening to as much coverage as I've had to listen to about a fifth round pick and an unrestricted free agent. Okay. I am sick of listening about Shadur and Shiloh, I think that's the name is Shiloh Sanders, and their adventures in this fucking league. It's annoying. I'm done. I am so happy that one's benched, third string quarterback, and the other's not. He's going to be playing up in fucking Canada. I am so grateful for this. It's so maddening the amount of coverage these two have gotten. And given it's not their own fault, obviously. But you have Shadur, who had a great game, give it to the kid, and then an awful game where he had as many sacks as I think he had 5 times as many sacks as he has completions or some bullshit like that. Just horrible outing this last time. And then Shiloh goes and punches a guy. Like, what the fuck? Why are we still talking about these two worthless fucking football players? Let's just forget they ever played and move on, right? As Dion said, God has plans for them and it'll take them bigger, better ways. So let's just do that.
Wait, is that on ESPN? Where's the coverage coming from?
It's everywhere on Twitter.
Is it?
Don't watch ESPN, bro.
I don't know. Shit, like I was gonna ask if ESPN got off Mahomes' dick and that's the new person they were writing, but I guess you don't know either. So no,
No, it's just
in
everywhere. And then with what was Eric Dickerson coming out and talking about how the league was making a statement with him. What statement? Can someone shed light on what statement was being made?
like he was being blackballed for being a Sanders, basically, is what he was saying because
It's the
he was being
stupidest thing
touted.
ever.
He
Who
was being
does?
touted as a first round pick. Like the fact that he went in the fifth is what he was referring to. But
Obviously, everybody in the draft so far is right, but I just don't understand why the hate with Deion Sanders. He didn't do anything to the NFL. He's just a college coach.
he's a cocky little person. But in Sudur's defense, the other podcast I listened to has a guy from Cleveland. He said there were so many numerous fans from the Browns staying in the game in the third and fourth quarter for a third preseason game, and he thought that was all like the Sadur effect. Don't know, I wasn't there, but that's his reporting.
I mean, it
Funny-
is the Shador effect. Let's be
yeah, and
real.
then
What else do the
he
Browns have to root for? 42-year-old Joe Flacco?
between two shitty drives that you just laid out, he actually went to the dog pound section and like hyped up the crowd supposedly, which is dumb. Go fucking play ball. Don't like all that shit. Yes, you can do when you're good. When you're that bad, I don't know if you can do it, but supposedly the town is behind him, and it was like a good. Like he said, he has not seen that much hype for Cleveland Browns football in a long time. So that was
But
the
the sad part
positive.
is Gabriel has looked better, and he's currently leading the charge.
Supposedly Gabriel's making the coach change his playbook because he's playing so well. So anyway, uh, those are the reactions. Chris gets here. I'm sure he'll have fun things to add to this conversation. But we are moving on, just like time. We're talking about preseason week 3, and I will set this up for you. Okay, Miller, you got this.
I'm always ready.
Undefeated Bears, the 4-0 Bears in
3-0.
2025. Now
3-0.
4-0. We beat the Packers in the first week 2025.
Oh, 2025.
Undefeated in 2025 Bears came back from 17 points down to beat the Super Bowl Chiefs 29-27 in walk-off fashion. Let that simmer for a second. The game started much rougher. The game started much rougher for both the starters. That our team looked horrible, both offense and defense, and their
Whoa, calm your roll before you start ripping on my quarterback, okay?
again, that's gonna come. Hang on, this is the truth. Uh, the
No,
first,
no, it's not.
first couple of drives were horrible for both our units.
Just keep Caleb's name out of your mouth.
I didn't say Caleb.
You said both of our units.
Oh
Caleb's
my
the leader of one unit, okay?
God, I can't
Do you
with
want
you.
me to be spitting facts? I can spit facts.
Oh, this season's gonna be unbearable.
You want some
Okay,
facts? We
please.
got 81.8% on target throws, 122.1 passer rating, 8.8 yards per attempt, 2.89 time to throw, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 TDs against the second string. Woo, baby! What's up, dog? You
I,
like
I
those stats?
I got some stats for you too, though. A
You
bot
got
snap,
those stats?
handoff, a false start, a throwaway, and a completion that was short of the sticks in the first drive alone. How is those numbers for you?
Hey, you can't be perfect on every opening
Hang on,
drive.
hang on, I got more. Back to back 3-and-outs for the offense. How do you like those stats?
Hey, I just look at the information that's put in front of me, and that one's
Finally,
not put in
finally
front of
they
me.
finally they get to the red zone, but do they score a touchdown? No, a field goal. How do those stats sound to you, buddy?
Hey, if Braxton Jones doesn't suck, we're in a totally different scenario.
All right.
Let that fucking guy run right into Caleb, and Caleb had to throw it in the back of the end zone. We had a wide open guy cross in the middle. If he had a little more time.
All right,
But hey,
we'll
we'll
talk.
get to that in a little second. But all for real, if you look at, are we done talking about the game? We won. Whoop de fucking do. Okay. If you focus in on Caleb's performance, even though I don't even know if you caught it, but most of the shit that he's done has been against the second team players, whether that was the Buffalo game or whether it was the Kansas City game. But I think the things that you need to focus on are the two areas that were highlighted most at the end of last year. And that was one, the on target throws. I think he was one of the worst in the league on target throws. And he's shooting an 81.8% this year. And then two, the time to throw at 2.89%. So, or 2.89 seconds. So, like, if you're trying to find a silver lining here, those are two things that are silver lining. And realistically, those two things, it doesn't matter if it's the second string, it doesn't mean it's the first string, it doesn't mean if it's Pro Bowlers. The accuracy of the throw is the accuracy of the throw, and then the time to throw is the time to throw. So just try to look at the silver lining there when it comes to him on that information. And he protected the ball, and realistically, he played almost a full game. He got one sack, obviously, and he got no interception. So hey,
You
we'll
mean the
see what
whole half?
happens, man.
You mean the whole
No, he
half?
played a whole half against the Chiefs and a quarter against the Bills, almost a whole
Okay.
game.
No, but that's fair. Like, some positive takeaway. I love that our roles have flipped. I used to look at the silver lining, and you were usually like, "Hey, they're more bad than good, whatever." I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? Like the time to throw and everything is great, but that 2.89 seconds, whatever, that's going to be lesser time with the first unit. But whatever, you know. I
Why is it
am.
going to be lesser time? It has to do with the play and reading the play.
I don't know. They're the first stringers. They'll probably get to them quicker. I don't know. That's just my like.
2.89 is below
Dude,
where you're supposed to be.
I mean, it is, but like I'm just assuming first rounders. We were 3-and-outs against the starters. I don't know
Doesn't
what the
matter.
guy.
The first round, a 2.89 is like, I think what you want is like 3.
Okay,
You
okay,
want the ball out within 3 seconds. So the
all right,
fact that he's doing under that, it doesn't matter.
all right. Fair point, but I'm just saying there were some positives this win, but like God, I don't want to hear Super Bowl or like none of that bullshit. 17-0, none of that bullshit. No playoffs. I like where we're headed. Long way to go is where I am with
Yeah. Before we
Caleb.
move on to the more, in my opinion, the most important thing, um, any comments about Caleb's socks?
I
Did you
saw it
see
on
this?
Twitter. I saw it on Twitter. He was wearing shorter socks, and they're
No,
not
the
NF.
sock. No, the socks weren't pulled up. I was hoping Chris would have probably had some bullshit to talk about, but
Oh,
realistically, one of the people was talking about how Caleb's socks weren't pulled all the way up, which they need to be. It's a fine, blah blah blah, and saying how he's not a leader because his socks aren't pulled up. And I don't know. All's well and good. You can talk about that, whatever, if that's your opinion. But the bottom line is the other thing to keep in mind is this is a preseason game. Caleb did have his socks up for majority of the time while he was on the field. So you don't know what he may have not thought he was done for the day, got all comfortable. I mean, he did hand his helmet over to the equipment person and then he went back in the game. So you don't know his state of mind. The bottom line is when he stepped on that field for that first time, his socks were all the way up. So he can go fuck himself.
I
Just
know we are peak
loser
off
story.
season. Peak off season when you're worried about Caleb's socks here, but let's move on.
Storylines. That's all they're trying to get. Clickbait.
Uh
That's why they get me all the time.
that you gotta stop doing that, Miller. Uh, let's talk about the actual losers probably of the game, the defensive performance. I think we'll be on the same page here. We had no pass rush. Mahomes seemed very cozy behind
Well,
that.
let's start with the caveat of our linebackers didn't play. Edwards didn't play, Edmonds didn't play, and Grady Jarrett didn't play, Jalen Johnson didn't play, Kyler Gordon didn't play,
Mhm.
and I don't think Tyreek Stevenson played. I could be
Okay.
wrong on that one though.
But majority of DTs played.
Other
Linebackers,
than yeah.
yeah, might be the second unit, but there was no pass rush whatsoever. Like not even like one here and there. Mahomes was cozy, and that O line Miller, they're
Well,
still they're still trying to
they,
figure out who's the starters on their side, and he just fucking ran up and down the field, scored on all three drives. I thought that was a real dud of the whole game. Like
I mean,
I
they did make him move, but yes, he looked pretty comfortable back there. They did
like
provide some movement out of the pocket, but yes, it wasn't. They didn't touch him. He didn't. His jersey wasn't dirty at the end of the day.
yeah,
You're going to use that in the opening game, but yes, it was very disappointing the lack of pressure. They did make him move a little bit, but he gets out of everything. That's just Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
And it was pretty disappointing to see how easily he was shredding our defense, and the defensive backs were non-existent
yeah.
essentially.
Provided, like you said, our starters were not there on like the secondary. Like, I want to give that caveat. That would be fun to see. Like if everyone was out
Brisker
there.
was though. Our safeties were.
Yeah, but like again, like he made it look easy. Like scored on all three drives. That was like the biggest concern for me. I'm not saying we are world beaters on defense, but I thought we would compete more. Like at least like give him like a three and out here and there, like something like that. Like maybe a couple of field goals would be fine. But like I think it was all three were touchdowns. One of them was a field goal.
No, one of them was a field goal that was dropped by the pass was dropped by Kareem Hunt in the end zone.
Yeah. So
I
like
think, if I'm
again,
remembering correctly.
like again, like that just looked bad. Like I maybe it's my expectation, but I thought defense would play slightly better. Like that was the biggest disappointment for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll see where this goes. One of the biggest disappointments on the defensive side were twofold. We'll start with Nishan Wright. You may recognize his name. He is a cornerback. He received a lot of positive press in the training camp, preseason play. They thought that he was going to be pushing for Tyreek Stevenson's position. He is no longer going to be pushing for Tyreek Stevenson's position. He started off basically, I believe, the first drive with a pass interference face mask where it was a 30 yards on two separate penalties. That was just killing. And then the following drive, he let up a 58-yard pass play. So, needless to say, Tyreek Stevenson is in a safe spot as this cornerback, too. Hopefully, Jalen Johnson does come back. He is scheduled to be back. I think they just activated him. He's not on the pup or anything like that. So, fingers crossed that he plays in game one. So, he was one of the guys that got pretty badly beat on the defensive back. Any concerns with you as far as the DB position? Obviously, we kind of talked about what we have. Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, and Kyler Gordon. Those are our first two, are our cornerbacks. And then we have our slot, our nickel cornerback, and Kyler. We lost Terrell Smith for the year. So we're relying on Nashawn Wright here to be our backup cornerback. So it'll be interesting. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I thought our play up front would be maybe a little bit tighter than this year because I think our secondary was decent last year. They were competing better than they have in the last couple of years. So I was thinking we were coming from a place of they we would not rely on them as much, so they would kind of had an advantage. There was a little bit of depth that I was looking forward to now with Terrell Smith out and Wright being exposed, especially with our starters having not played at all in the preseason. Definitely a big area of concern, but like I said, the defense overall, like I thought it would be a decent unit, like maybe someone worth playing in fantasy even. And I'm very concerned. I think like this is like I think we'll get back to average, right below average. Like I don't think that should be a problem. But if we wanted them to be a difference maker, I think we'll be really disappointed there.
Yeah, especially with all that hype that we had with Miami and just the physicality that they showed just to come out flat. And even last weekend, they had a good game. But to come out flat against Kansas City was concerning because you were playing the ones. Next, as you guys all, everybody that listens, you know who Ben is. He's made several spots. One of his favorite signings in the off season was Dio. I'm not even going to try the second name because I don't have it on the sheet. But Dio, the defensive end that we got from the Colts, well, now he didn't play every snap in the preseason games, but let's just say, as far as the stats books are concerned, he wasn't even on the field. He didn't have one stat this whole preseason, which is not great for a guy already being questioned on the amount of money that we spent for him. So you were hoping that he was going to make a positive impact and maybe make some plays on this defense. So it's early. It hasn't not a real game. We haven't got anybody together. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he turns it around. He's supposed to be a good fit for this defense. We'll see if it actually hits there. And then Austin Booker. He's the defensive end that we drafted last year. He's made a strong outing the first two preseason games, got hurt, not a lot of clarity as regards to his position. As far as this injury is concerned, he's not in the pup, but they did say he's going to be out a few weeks. So it looks like week one is in jeopardy there. So DBs having issues with injuries. DNs are also having issues with injuries with Booker. But it looks like the core, all the starters, should be ready to go as far as the defensive front's concerned. So we'll see how that goes.
Only positive about Deo I heard was like it was one of the joint practices, either Miami or Buffalo. I think he was one of the starts of the day. Like he looked really good one of those days, but I can go back and check when. But that was the only thing I've heard. And sad news about Booker. I'm really hoping for some exciting jump from him this year from all the hype he's gotten. But we'll see where we get there. But um,
Yeah,
quickly,
I'll take this one. I'll run with this one again. The left tackle competition. We've been talking about that previously. It looks like Braxton Jones may have the job, but if any of you listened to the press conference from Ben Johnson today, you heard it what he said about the starters, and I have the quote right here. Ben Johnson came out when he was asked about the left tackle competition and who the starter is going to be. He said, "I think we're going to have a starter week one, and we'll go from there. We feel good about the guys that we have in the room. Someone's going to take the bull by the horns and is going to completely take over." Let me repeat that last line for you. Someone's going to take the bull by the horns and is going to completely take over. Okay, so we just went through about 4 weeks of training camp. And I think 2 weeks ago, he said this goddamn same exact
I was
line.
gonna say I've heard this before from him when the
And
competition was
now,
going on.
13 days away from the opening kickoff, he's going to use this line again? That doesn't give me any confidence that we have our left tackle solidified, regardless of the names that are in the hat. That has me extremely worried about that left tackle situation.
Yeah. It looks like I was trying to look off PFF grades and stuff like that. There's nothing official, I think, but I think Theo might have been graded better on this game by a little bit over Braxton Jones. I don't think Braxton Jones had a bad game per se, but I don't know. It if you look at the PFF stats, it echoes what Ben just said, which is it's still up in the air. But I think Jones is gonna start. Maybe have a short leash, but I think he's gonna start for sure. That's my vote. What do you think is gonna?
Yeah, I think it'll probably just be Braxton based on experience in the league. But the only other thing that I can see and I'll get to the press conference a little more in a little bit, but unless we sign somebody or trade for someone in the near term, I think it's got to be probably Braxton Jones.
Yeah, someone coming in playing left tackle. I don't see that. That person has to be a stud, and usually you don't find studs trading easily or just on the waiver wire. So that might be a tough sell. Um, Couple other performances. Like this is a big point for me. I wanted to draft DeAndre Swift. I everyone and their mothers
Are you talking
is
about
my
fantasy when you said that?
yeah fantasy and even real football, right? Like at least a running back, they probably mean the same thing. But I thought it was going to be a good year. If you look up his like expectations for the season, a lot of people have him in like on fantasy do not draft, like a bust for the most part. Um, I don't think he's going that high, but like behind that offensive line, that's like top 10 in the league conservatively. I thought he was going to have a good year, and all that to say is he had a good game. I think he looked good. He looked serviceable. He looked like he would do well behind that line. Um, I am
Well,
mad at myself that I didn't draft him in my fantasy league.
that's fair. I think a lot of this just comes from the Detroit Lions, right? When you want to draft a running back, you're looking for a guy that has the potential to get the yards and as well as the touchdowns. And when you look at the Lions, they have that with the Gibbs Montgomery tandem. Well, if you look at the Bears, is that really going to be Swift's expertise? Is he going to be able to get those goal line carries? So I think a lot of the hesitation formulates around the fact that Swift may not get those end zone touches. It may go to like a Roshan Johnson or someone like that. But when you look at the injuries on this team, you don't even know where that's going to come from. Right now, we did get the depth chart. It came out. It's showing that we have three running backs on the roster. We have DeAndre Swift, we have Roshan Johnson, and then we have Kyle Monangai. So let's see how this transforms. I think it's Travis Homer. He's our special teamer, backup running back. He's on IR. He's out for the first 4 weeks. So we'll see what happens. Expectation, I think, is that another running back is going to be brought in. Again, it's not going to be an impact guy, so you just don't know who's going to take those goal line runs. And if Swift does become an impact player and does get those opportunities, he may turn into a steal in the fantasy football drafts for sure.
Yeah. Like honestly, with two tight ends, I feel like if they're that close, I feel like they might end up throwing it too. I'm not saying every time, but like they may prefer that over maybe, especially if there's running back injuries and maybe Swift that maybe doesn't crack it as much. I feel like they may throw it a little bit too, but no. But I don't know. I'm behind that O line. I have some confidence in him. Mostly is what I was trying to convey, and then he proved it on the field. He was with the starters.
Yeah.
He played well.
You
Um,
know who else proved it on the field?
your
Our boy that we just signed,
Agent Bajent.
Agent Bajent. Jeez, what do you have? 4 tutties, including the last second one or something like that? Something, or maybe 3 tutties. But he played lights out and led the Bears to that comeback on Friday. That was very impressive to see. I'm happy that we got him signed him to a 2-year, $10 million extension. It was basically national news because of his reaction. Obviously, he's up here crying at the podium because of what football's done for him at this point. It was a really heartfelt moment for him. Very
He's an
cool to
unsigned
see.
guy. Like
Yeah,
that's. I'm not saying
unsigned
life
free
changing.
agent
Yeah,
for
like
sure. Yeah. So very impressive to see, and he deserves it, man. I'm happy that we got him for another 3 years. It's pretty much almost aligned to the Caleb contract. Hopefully, at that point, we'll know what Caleb is at that point, and hopefully Tyson, maybe we can trade him after 2 years and maybe get something back for him, because you know how this stuff works with backup quarterbacks,
yeah, like
especially ones that haven't been completely proven but look good. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
honestly, like that's all they're trading these days, right? Like fucking Kenny.
Yeah, but Kenny Pickett's trash.
I know, but he was a first round pick, and like he's being traded twice in this offseason alone. Like
Yeah,
it's interesting to see what's out there.
yeah.
That being said, like Minnesota is signing was a former Eagles quarterback.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, like he still has his job, so it'll be interesting. Like we said, he was pretty instrumental on the team. He has his role cut out. He's really good at it. I'm glad we have him. Like he
Yeah,
balled out this preseason. So happy for him. Seems like a good kid too.
yeah, absolutely. Um, Two
I mean,
things here. One thing, injuries to monitor. I did see some reporting about TJ Edwards getting hurt today at practice. Obviously, I don't know the severity, don't know anything about it, but it seemed like he did throw his helmet down in disgust. Whatever that means, I don't know. Hopefully, it's not a serious injury, and hopefully, he can get back in the field in the next 2 weeks. The other thing that was interesting that I heard was from a lot of beat writers. They talked about changes coming in the next few weeks. I saw multiple people talk about the fact that the current 53 isn't the final 53. Expect changes. So I'm interested to see if there's going to be some trades or some impact waiver claims that are made over the next few weeks. Obviously, the last few days we've had a plethora of trades. I don't remember ever seeing this many trades in this close to the season. Maybe I was just blind to it, but it's been like every minute there's somebody getting traded for a fifth or a sixth or a seventh round pick. So it'll be interesting to see if the Bears get involved in that, especially with as many holes as we really do have.
yeah, it seems like a lot going on. I was reading the Vikings depth chart before the week one matchup, and looks like they only have four DBs on their roster and stuff like that. So like not just us, everyone's going through the same pains of like who balled out, who looked good in the preseason, where do we need depth, who is out on the waiver wire, and it seems like teams are not shy to give up like a fifth or a sixth, seventh round pick, like some of the picks that like usually don't amount to much, they're just throwing him around, like you said, last couple of days. And I don't know about impact, but Brian Robinson to the 49ers is probably as impact as it gets. It was interesting to see some of the pieces being moved around right now. What I did want to bring up, and I think Ben Johnson was on the Kay Adams show, and he said he like I think it was Gibbs who criticized him, saying it's weird to see the same plays we did in Detroit being played at in Chicago. And in response, Ben Johnson said, "Yes, it's a preseason. Like what we are doing right now is likely what we'll not do in the season because you don't want to show the people some of your plays, maybe." But he was like, "It This is something I've done for over years. I'm just doing the same plays, but we'll be different. We'll be more creative in the season." So that's something he said, like when you were hinting at this, that's where my mind went. Not necessarily probably what it means, but like that's probably some of the changes coming out there too. Looks like they want the offense to be like creative and different. Like there was a snap of DJ Moore running at running back, so like things like that. Maybe that's what I my mind went to. But just wanted to bring it up as well. Talk about Ben Johnson. You're reporting on the presser, so
Yeah.
Mike Miller from Trio Positivity newspaper, take it over. What did you think about Ben Johnson's press conference
Yeah.
today?
Josh Ben Johnson had a press conference today, and this is the first we've really talked about any pressure that he's done, and it's probably because this is, in my opinion, like the first press conference that he hasn't really owned it. Like it seemed like he was pretty distraught based on probably expectations of where he thought this team was going to be and where we are at this point, which is quite concerning. Um, they obviously they talked about what we mentioned earlier about the left tackle and them not naming a starter there. They were talking to they asked Ben about the pre-snap issues, and he basically came out and said, "I am disappointed that they have lingered for as long as they have. That is something that we've addressed. Nothing too shabby there, but it seemed like he, if you've watched his press conferences in the back or in the past, he's been very direct. He's been good with the press. He's owned the room. When he talked, you listened. He took charge, and today it just wasn't that. The other big point that came up was in regards to the running back room. They asked about where we're at with the running back rooms, and basically he said this: there are question marks as to when they will be fully healthy, talking about injuries to Roshan, Cal Monungai, and Travis Homer. We'll always be looking if there's a guy out there that can help upgrade the room. So it's just like there's very much wishy-washy talk in this Ben Johnson presser, and that's not really what you want 13 days out of the season. You want decisiveness, you want solidifying positions, and it seems like we have multiple position groups where we don't know what the path forward is, and it's quite concerning.
Yeah.
It's really starting to get to me as to how well prepared this team is going to be, and not necessarily blaming it on Ben Johnson, but just like with injuries, with where we the off season, getting people together, it's just like is this gonna
So
work?
no longer 17-0, no longer Super Bowl bound. What have
No,
you? What?
we're far away from 17-0.
No, I see what you're saying. Like in his defense, I guess like we've all worked in places that have like lots of issues, not just personnel, culture, everything. And like a new CEO comes in or a new person in charge comes in, and everyone expects it to be better, and maybe some things are better, but it takes time, right? Like uh definitely concerning. I definitely think we were like this Chiefs game, especially the starter units. I don't know if you believe me, did not go as per plan, and I think like some of that bled into this press conference too. I think he was like distraught about those performance too. Kind of bled into this. I think he's just like, so yes, it looks bad. We end up like offense goes three and out twice, and we are having like dumb penalties on the first drive. Yeah, it looks bad. I think that bloody bled into that too. But no, I think we have probably have some bad habits. We Some of them have come out in the media already. Some of them maybe haven't yet, but this team had some bad habits last year, and so some of the players are still here. So it's hard for those things to go away. And it seems like he's trying to like work with the players, give them the benefit of the doubt, coach them up. So let's just chalk it up to that, and like just hope that like when push comes to shove, week one, things will probably look better. Talking about that, uh, it's time for our positivity scale. You know,
Score, not scale. Score.
score scale. Sorry, my it's my product. I get to see whatever I want. Um, what we'll do, Miller, you and I, is let's give the offense a score, or defensive score, and then and overall how we feel about it. Since you are very high, let's start with offense and you. What say you, the positive score on our offense?
I like the. I truly enjoy that you believe everything I write down on a piece of paper. My positivity score for the offense right now is probably we'll give it a 4.5. Um,
I'm sorry,
I'm
what?
a 4.5.
Are you
First of all,
are you changing your answer?
I just explained that I think it's funny that you believe that everything I write on a piece of paper is factual. No, that wasn't my answer. My
The
answer,
way agendas work, Miller, is you write it down and you fucking say it. That's how. Okay, whatever. Go on.
I think it's probably a 4.5. There's been a lot of concerning talk about the overall offense. We've seen steps taken by Caleb, but we don't know if this is going to be coming to fruition or not. So, yes, I'm very concerned about the offense as a whole. I think we got better. I like the direction that we're going to go, but until I see it on the field, I'm not gonna be sitting here at a 10. That's for damn sure.
All right. Well, people are lying on the sheet. That's all I got for you. But I'm slightly higher than you. I'm at a 6.5. You know, this is how we got here, including the preseason. So this has the offense live on upgrades, the Ben Johnson hire, all of that is built in. The personnel we have in offense, like on paper, looks like one of the best offenses. Some games we look pretty good. 2 of the 3 games we look pretty good. Like so that factors in too. So I'm at a 6.5 for the offense. I don't want to compare to how we were last year, but I think the way I look at it is like we'll be better than average offense. So like that's probably at a 5. So like that's why I put it at 6.5 with a bunch of room to grow into where we want to go. This year and beyond is where I am. I'm at a 6.5 for offense.
You're very optimistic.
I am. But if you don't know that by now, I don't know what to tell you. On the defensive side, this was very hard for me. Um, the last game was horrible. Like I said, like I mean maybe not horrible. It's like an exaggeration, but their starter looked much better than ours. But I also didn't just want to bash them over one game. We've looked decent the rest of the way. The coaching hire, some of the moves we made on the defense. All that being said, I said we'll be around average. So I gave them 5.5 on defense for the positivity score.
4.
So not a 0. Got it. Okay, got it.
No, not a 0, a 4.
Okay.
I
So
just this defense, we saw what they were last year. Yes, we made some hires. I need to see impact from them. Yes, we had a good game against the Bills. It wasn't the starting ones, and when we saw the ones with Mahomes, we got shredded. So I'm not going to give them credit for going against 2s and 3s like I will Caleb because it's Caleb. Duh.
hey,
But this defense,
you got something on your lips right there.
but the defense needs to show me something, and we haven't seen the whole team, but we saw most of them last year, and it didn't go very well. So we'll see what happens this year with a new scheme and some new pieces. So yeah, I'm not going to start crowning them because they are who I thought they were. Okay.
You go ahead and crown him, man. Okay. Overall, that brings me to a 6, which I feel like probably where we were last year, maybe slightly better, especially how we ended the year. I think I don't know where we were.
No, we
Uh,
were not at a 6 to end the year. I can
no,
promise you that.
even
We
after we
were
beat
on
the
like a
Packers,
12-game losing streak, bro.
but we beat the Packers at the end of the year. Is all I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, your average comes to about 4, -1. Mm.
No, that was a joke. Again, it's a joke. It was all for fucking play for your ass who reads everything. I'm still about a 4, 4.5
Uh,
overall.
All right, so no 17-0. Got it. Okay. That being said, if we had any
If
advertisement,
if if anybody was interested in Chris's, it's offense -4, defense -1, overall -12.
negative 300. Yeah, who cares? So I would throw for ads had we had any sponsors. Since we don't have any sponsors, I'm gonna take us right to our next segment. What a good segue. All right, what we're gonna do? We did this.
Charge!
We did this last year. It was a pretty. We had fun. I don't know if people
Oops,
had
just
fun
got rid of the
listening.
song.
Well, we did this segment last year, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And hopefully, you guys had some fun listening to it. So bringing it back, we're doing some hot takes for the season. Miller, if it's okay with you, the way I have it programmed in my head is I'll throw out a lukewarm one, you throw out your lukewarm one, then we got a caliente one.
I don't have fucking lukewarm one. I have two hot takes that are
All
gonna
right.
happen.
Okay, so I'm gonna go my first caliente, then you go your hot take, and then we'll go to my caliente take. Okay, how does that sound?
I don't even know that mine are hot takes, but
All right, we'll let the audience decide. That means we'll let Ben decide. But here we go. My lukewarm take, and it's lukewarm because it has nothing to do with us. I think Jags will win their division, and Mr. Trevor Lawrence will be in the MVP conversation this year.
Jags winning their division, I don't think is too much of a hot take. Trevor Lawrence in the MVP conversation is very much a hot take.
That was my lukewarm take for you. What you
I
got for
don't.
me?
I good luck. I don't know about that. I'd be very impressed if Trevor Lawrence
I said
did that.
conversation. I'm like mostly basing it off on.
So do you
Remember,
like have all Jaguars on your fantasy team?
I do not. I do
Because
not.
you really should get some Brian Thomas then.
Yeah.
I don't because if he's in the MVP conversation, you're expecting 40 touchdowns. You're expecting probably 4,500 yards, 40 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That'd be
Somewhere in
quite
that range.
impressive.
I was thinking of Baker with Liam Cohen last year and how he had like a really solid year. And was definitely like maybe
He had
not.
more weapons.
Yeah. Arguably. Yeah. But that's my lukewarm take. What you got for me?
There will be a 5,000-yard passer this year.
Okay.
It hasn't been done since 2022. So it's
Yeah. I
been 3
remember.
years.
Remember like how
2
that was
years.
like everyone was doing it for a couple of years, or everyone
Yeah,
was.
it was. Yeah. So I think there's a shot for two. I was gonna name a name, but because of how rare it was, I was just like, let me just do that. So I think
Uh,
I
Joe
almost
Burrow.
named obviously Joe Burrow. I think he's got a shot. Um, and I think Dak Prescott's got a shot.
Those are really good choices.
I think both of those have a shot.
Really good choices. All right. I can go caliente, and you can drop us off. How about we do that? Let's do that. All right. I'll go next. The team next door that like has been on a tear, has won like back to back division champs. I think like 10+ wins every year. I say the Lions this year. Tim Miller, drum roll, please.
Sorry. Wait, pause. I don't have drum roll. That's all I have.
That's got to do. They don't make the playoffs this year. What do you
Interesting.
think? I
It can
everyone.
happen, dude. It can happen whenever you're losing people. I mean, I'll get into it in the next segment when we start talking about fantasy a little more. But whenever you start messing with the offensive line, whenever you start messing with the coordinators, anything can happen.
Yeah, I feel
So
like you're right. The continuity is gone. We know Goff, like when the O line's not as solid, he like doesn't have the best year. But like I know they had pretty terrible injury season last year, but still they won 15 games. I'm not gonna say injury will derail them, but I feel like the division's more competitive at least. They likely have a harder schedule because they're playing a first place schedule. All that playing into the factor. I feel like they missed the playoff. Maybe not by much. I'm not saying they're gonna fall to like 2-win team, but I feel like they do not make the playoffs this year.
yeah, I probably wouldn't sign up for that. I just don't think the other three teams in the division, including the Bears, are going to be good enough to take that away from them. So we'll see.
All right. What do
My
you?
it's not really a hot take. It's really not. I guess it kind of is. It's an over from Vegas. Does that count? Kind of does. Caleb's gonna throw for 4,000 yards this year. Book it.
Okay. That's a pretty good bet. That was the other one I was gonna go with. With all the offensive weapons around him, I was gonna go for like he's gonna break the Bears all season. Uh,
I
passing
think there's
record.
I consider it a hotter take. I think there's a lot of hesitancy to back him right now because not only what he's shown in the preseason, but new head coach, new coordinator, but also the slow buildup that Detroit had when Ben Johnson became their offensive coordinator. I think he's going to start slow out of the gate. Hopefully, that slow is 200-yard games and not 150. And hopefully by the end of the year, he's doing 300-yard games on a fairly consistent basis. That's kind of the hope from me. I am expecting slow. I think we've talked about it before. I don't expect this team to blow people out at the beginning. I don't expect it to be a fluid thing. I think there's going to be a lot of pains at the beginning of this season. And my hope is that on the second half of the year, we see basically a different team. I wish the bye week was a little later, but it's not. It is what it is. And yeah, I think he'll get there. I think he'll get there this year.
So someone did the math on like what pace that would be. Like it's like because it's 17 games, it doesn't have to be in like a breath like like a crazy pace to get to 4,000
Isn't
yards.
it like 220 or something like
Yeah, it's
that?
it's a yeah, like which seems very doable. So
Yeah.
that's what I was saying. Someone was saying that for like Cam Ward, and they were like, he's gonna throw for he was like 3,600 or 3,400, and they're like, that's like 200 yards a game. That's doable.
It's very much doable.
All right, those are our hot takes. Since Chris is not here, I feel like it was more logical than hot. But you know,
what would his hot take be?
uh,
Um, let's
let's
think.
see.
Let's think. Let's think like Chris. Fields for MVP and Trubisky will throw for 20 touchdowns.
Oh man, come on. That's not. Oh no, I got it. Trubisky will lead the Bills to Super Bowl.
Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go.
It'll be like
Hot takes for Chris. Book up, baby.
oh, Chris. Hopefully you join soon. All right. That brings us to our last segment. Miller, do we got any ads to play, or we can jump right in?
No, we don't have any yet.
You don't want to play any drum roll? All right. Fantasy football. You know, there wasn't much relevancy in terms of the game played on the it was mostly non-starters playing on the field, so we don't have much to give there. But what we thought might be helpful for you guys is just to update you on some injuries that have probably cleared out or made some more noise. Just give you guys a good lay of the land as to where injuries are, so you're prepared for your drafts. Coming up, I know like last weekend was a big weekend draft. This coming weekend is probably a bigger weekend draft. So as you guys get ready to head into the season, just make sure you're prepared going in. I'll get the first easy ones off the board. Joe Mixon from the Texans and Tajay Spears from the Tennessee. They're both running backs. They're on the PUP, so they're out at least for 4 weeks. There's a whole plethora of when they can be activated and when they can practice. So doesn't guarantee that they'll be back right away after that, but at least they're out for 4 weeks. That's for certain. So get their backups. Texans case is not super clear. There is a clear running back in Titans if you want to draft somebody. That's
Pollard. Are those the only big injuries? Obviously, you had Ayuk. He's out. He's on pop.
it's been gone for a while.
And then Jennings, Juwan Jennings, but that's a messy situation. But is there any other fantasy relevant injuries?
Chris
I think we've been
Godwin,
pretty.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
he was not placed on IR, so he's active, so he can like technically practice tomorrow. I don't think that's the expectation. Expectation is going to miss a couple of
yeah. I
games,
think
but
he's going to be in October.
yeah, but they want him to be available for practice sooner if he's available. That's why they didn't put him on. IR. I think those are the big ones that had
Yeah,
fantasy
we've been
relevance.
pretty lucky this preseason. There hasn't really been any um,
Yeah,
fantasy stars that have gone down.
yeah,
Um,
that's a cool point you bring up because a lot of injuries that came up has been on the offensive line.
yeah, that was the one thing that I wanted to talk about because I saw this um, on my favorite website, as you know, Twitter. We don't call it X, we call it Twitter in my world. Um, the offensive lines, while the fantasy stars have stayed healthy, the offensive lines have gotten battered, especially when you're talking about high end running backs. Let's run through them really quick. Bijan Robinson is down two tackles, including his one stud of a left tackle that just was ruled
Caleb,
out for the year today.
Caleb
Um,
McGarry.
Caleb McGarry, they said he was done for the season. Jameer Gibbs, the interior O line has completely changed due to retirement as well as leaving the team. So be wary there. It's not an injury, but it's a change. Barkley has a new right guard and his left guard. What's it? Dickerson, I
Dickerson,
believe.
one of the best in the league.
Yeah, one of the best in the league is going to be out probably a few weeks, if not at least 1 week. So there is potential that he's going to be getting back. Bucky Irving, he's missing Wirfs, one of the best left tackles in the league that I think is on the pup, but I think he's kind of come back, maybe.
Yeah, he's
Plus
not
a
on.
few others. And then Achan has lost three O linemen for the season, and some others have been beat up. And
Um,
then Chargers, oh, go ahead.
Achan himself is beat up too.
Yeah,
he may
Achan's beat up there.
he may not
That
start
oh,
week one. Yeah.
yeah. And then the Chargers left tackle injury, who went down. I should have wrote it down, but one
Oh
of the best in the league as well. He's out. So you see these,
no, like
you see
like
these
yeah.
Rashawn Slater. You see these star running backs, and while they've stayed healthy, the offensive lines do have question marks surrounding them. Keep that in mind. Anything can happen. The other thing that I wanted to talk about with injuries was something that was brought up on one of the podcasts that I listened to. Is last year, Boopin, I don't know if you even know this. You probably do. You're a smart guy. Last year, the amount of injuries to the running back position was a record low.
Yeah, historic.
We haven't had that low of injuries to top like 20 running backs since 2017.
Yeah.
So you expect to see some regression there.
Mm.
And I mean, you never want to wish injuries to star players, but it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And last year we had a lot of injuries to the stud wide receivers. It'll be interesting to see if this year if we have some injuries to running backs.
Yeah, and
Um,
injuries to O line necessarily doesn't mean a downgrade on their offensive output. Like Bijan Robinson, like the other tackle was down, so the joke was, oh, they're gonna run the ball to the other side, right? Because there's usually a replacement, and the replacement is like average, below average, above average. So while there's a drop off in their performance, it's not a significant drop off. Like they're not picking Miller or me from the street and putting them in that spot, but there is a significant maybe a learning curve, right? Maybe some drop off, but it's not significant. But it's significant in these cases because both tackles are down. So if you, let's say your left tackle's down, so you run to the right side. Now you have to like consider like both are newer players. There will be some growing pains there, even if he's like amazing or there's a good chance he's below average. Those are the things to consider. Um, Especially like the Lions, the Bucky Irving, the Chargers news, these are not these are not normal. Even Lions, like these are top people in their positions, and there will be as like a impact on the performance of the running back, especially and the quarterbacks. Even they may not have as much time in their pocket. That like leads to more fantasy reduction, but just good things to know. Again, probably wouldn't do much things differently, but just helpful to know. And like Miller said, these things can be predicted. So tomorrow, while an O line that's fully healthy, the main guy on there could go down. So not super predictable, but definitely something to consider as well. Great points there. Should we talk about our fantasy draft for a couple minutes before we wrap up and head
Sure.
home? So we did our legacy league of record auction draft. Miller's team. I don't know if he's looked. It's probably rated pretty high on the power thing. I thought he had a great draft. He kept
Did you?
sniping.
Because I didn't.
He kept sniping people at the end, even though he was technically not in the draft room. I would nominate some people, and because he had money left, he would automatically get them. So I was pretty mad at him for that. But um,
Who?
I don't know, a couple of like replacement level people towards the end. I would
Kyle
nominate him.
Williams?
No, didn't nominate him.
Rashid Shaheed?
I think I nominated him.
Yeah, you might have. Yeah.
And
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. You want to start first, or I can go?
You can go.
Yeah, overall, I'm not pretty thrilled with my league. Obviously, I have it's a keeper league that we have. We do an auction draft every year. Really like the auction format. It's I while I like it, I don't think I've ever had a good auction draft. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm always pretty terrible at it. But some surprises on the board. Wide receivers went pretty low for the most part. I was able to snag Tyreek Hill for a pretty low nominal amount. Obviously, that comes with a lot of risk. You don't know what that position's going to be. I had a keeper of Rashid Rice, so I can kind of balance that out. Hopefully, because with his suspension coming up, probably my worst pick of the night was Isaiah Pacheco from the Chiefs. While it may not be awful, I spent a pretty good sum on him. I probably could have allocated that to a more consistent, dependable player than Pacheco. So we'll see. That's one thing I'm beating myself up over. I got a good kicker in Fairbairn and a great defense in Denver, so I was happy there. Bo
I
Nix
think
is my quarterback.
you stole Denver
Surprise.
from me too, by the way.
Yeah. I just was like, fuck it. The surprise of the night by Boopin and Chris, if he was here, was I actually got Justin Fields on my team. Dirt cheap. It was pretty cheap for a quarterback. So I didn't think I was actually going to get him. I probably wasn't going to bid anything else, but I was happy that I did because he does offer that floor for me. And realistically, you never know what that offense is going to turn into.
Is he a
So
starting QB? No.
no, Bo Nix is my starting QB.
That was
I
a steal
paid
for yeah, that was a
I
steal.
paid $1 less than I wanted to. Well, then if I would have kept him, because I was debating keeping him, to be honest. But because of you not wanting to sign Hurts and because Joe Burrow is out there, I was like, well, let me just see if I can get one of them. Bo Nix was, I think, one of the first quarterbacks to go, so I drafted him, and it turned out to be okay. I probably wasn't going to be in the Hurts conversation, but I wanted to be in the Burrow conversation, and
He went way too much.
that
Burrow went
went
for
over my budget. My budget, I think, was about 25, and I think it went high 20s. Um,
yeah.
so Bo Nix worked out for me. Actually, even though who knows what he's going to be, a lot of people think that he's going to take a few steps this year. There is question marks with him being a second year quarterback. Just got to trust the process. Overall, my bench is pretty awful. Obviously, I have Rashid Rice as my first wide receiver. Who knows what that's going to be? They have a tough schedule to start. My lone bright spot on my bench is Braylon Allen from the Jets. He's got a lot of hype this offseason with Brees taking a lot of the downward trajectory, not knowing what's going on there. So I'm hoping that towards the end, middle of the season, I think Braylon Allen will start off and he will get work. I think it'll be a timeshare. And hopefully, towards the end of the season, Braylon might cement himself in a solid role, which will make him a playable guy. Other than that, my other big shocker, which I kind of played towards, was picking up Joe Mixon. Um, my running back room is very light, don't have much to go off of. So towards the end of the draft, I was targeting two guys. Judkins from Cleveland, who I still think he'll probably get signed. Don't know yet. He still is currently not signed. And then Joe Mixon. Because of the weakness of my running back room, I knew I wanted a guy that had potential starting role. So I positioned myself in the auction draft to do that. So I was able to outbid somebody for Joe Mixon. Um, before the Judkins went to higher than I would have been able to bid. So it got me mixing. Nobody knows his status. Huge question mark. He may be out for the year. We don't know. But if he does come back at some point this season, I'm hoping even I don't know when my guys' bye weeks are. Uh I don't know. I can't look that quickly. But Pacheco's 10 and my other guy is Kyron's 8. So hopefully Mixon will be back by week 8 and I'll be sitting pretty. But I knew I needed to solidify that room. I didn't have a good draft in that middle. So it's how it goes.
I feel like that's a lesson here. There were some values, but I was too stubborn to like go behind the values. What comes to mind is like Knicks, Evans and stuff like that, where there is a significant drop off of what he should go for and what he went for. I should have done more there, but I probably try to stick to my guns. Like you said, my keepers were Higgins, Neighbors, so I'm pretty set on wide receiver. Bowers was my other keeper, so tight end I'm pretty set too. I went Hurts early. I didn't want Hurts beyond a certain dollar point. He came much cheaper than that. Um, Jonathan Taylor, who is someone I spent a lot of money on. I wanted to go after a stud running back, but I think I spent a little bit too much there, and that affected my second
Yeah,
running back.
I always what did you get him for like 48, 49, right?
40 some, yeah, 45 probably.
Because I think I was gonna go up to 50, but I don't remember. I think he might have went after somebody that I drafted, and I just wasn't willing to at the time. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like I knew there was like top 5 running backs maybe I wanted, and like I think I was highest on like him. So I wanted him, but like I think I paid a little bit too much, and as a result my flex and my running backs two are pretty weak. I think I have both the running backs from Denver. Again, a terrible strategy most of the time, but I know they have a good O line. I'm hoping one of them will emerge as a starter. Maybe the other one can also go in the flex sometimes. That both of them, and like in terms of flex, I have Juwan Jennings, who has a weird situation right now. I did pick up Ford from Cleveland, who might be the starter. It's a little weird who might be the starter. But beyond that, I have Ayuk in my IR spot. Again, at least out for a couple weeks, but maybe when he comes back, I'll have a flex player. But my running back too, my flex are like really up for grabs. And that's like you said, that's the disappointment I had. It's like I can definitely grab some like values here and there, save some money at the end, grab the defense I wanted and stuff like that. So that's where my disappointment lies in this draft. But I think it's hard. You think you have a plan, and then like auction draft is fucking free for all. Like you cannot control all the variables. Like plus most of the people we draft with, we've been drafting for a while, so like they play a lot of games, a lot of funny games where that just throws everything up in the air. But like just like you, not super happy with the team. Like in the bench and some of those starting spots are pretty weak. But you don't win your draft. Sorry, you don't win your league at the draft. You have to build on it. So I'm hoping to do some work. Like week 4, week 6, and maybe make some trades to get better.
Week 1 or 2. There you go. Get
I don't
that
know.
waiver guy.
I want to give them some time, some of the people, just to clear out some situations, see
That's
where we
fair.
land. All right, that's it, folks. We did it. Somehow we went over an hour, just the two of us talking, but we can do this for days. So this is what we do. Thank you for listening. We hope that we brought some positivity into your life. If we
Beep
did,
beep beep
let
beep.
us know. Hit that like and subscribe button. We are a young podcast still. Keep that feedback coming. Um, Maybe someday in the near future, maybe week 1, we'll bring some positivity into your life via the Chicago Bears. But until then, shining off. Have a good night.
Bye bye.